Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmed Nawaz with the latest roundup of sports today. Now, contact sports it has been a big subject in Pakistan, but when you talk about mixed martial arts, MMA, it's gained a lot of footing in Pakistan. Infrastructure has been there in various pockets, but to connect it all towards international standards is something that we've all tried for people who love this sport. And there have been various entities who have been trying to not just produce talent, but like I said, implement international standards, send our fighters to various countries as well to gain the necessary amount of training, and of course get a better idea of how MMA is being played internationally and how far are we, because we understand that in Pakistan infrastructure development, apart from cricket, if it's any sport, becomes a very tricky subject, let alone MMA, where people are literally giving their sweat and blood. So I think a lot more needs to be done. But of course, in today's show, we not only honor a couple of people who have, of course, won the top-notch events that you can think of in Pakistan. But when you talk about their careers as well, I think that stellar careers so far, and much more to come as well. So we're going to be talking to these two young fighters, and I'm very, very honored to be joined by, first of all, Mehmosh and Faizan. Assalamu alaikum, gentlemen. How are you?
Walaikum salam. All good, all good.
Great to have you. Great to have you. How are you, Faizan?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you on the show as well. Now, I think let's just go straight to business, first of all. Mehmosh, it becomes a bit of a cliche, but before we move on to the particulars that we want to talk about, I just want our viewers to get a perspective that how did you discover that this is something which I want to do as a professional sport?
Well, this is a funny story really because a cousin of mine who is much older than I am came to Pakistan. He lives in Canada. Askar bhai naam hai unka, theek hai.
Right.
So he showed me MMA fights and I fell in love with it straight away. So since that day I was just watching all the MMA fights I could get my hands on, whether it was old school Pride fights or the current day UFC fights. I fell in love with Wanderlei Silva. He was like my first favorite fighter. Because he was just so gritty and strong, and since that day I never looked back. I just eventually found a place to train, and then it was just the beginning of it.
So what was the initial reaction of friends and family when they got to know that you want to earn a living out of fighting people,
well,
almost to all corners of the world?
Yeah, obviously the first reaction you get is no. You have lost your mind, maybe we need to get your brain checked, scan kara dein. But afterwards, I think it is a process because you need to sort of prove yourself. Obviously, it's not about proving yourself to yourself because you already have a mission in your mind, but it's more of just like making the people around you see that they can believe in you, because it's very hard for someone to believe in you when you start something that no one has ever even dreamed of doing. Yeah. So it's just a matter of that. Once that starts, then alhamdulillah, my parents are on board.
But speaking of somebody who has always believed in you, apart from myself, of course, is Mr. Faizan Khan, who not only happens to be a fighter himself, but as far as the technicalities of coaching are concerned, then the brains behind the operations are certainly there as well. So Faizan, let's just get to business. Something that you want to focus on is the infrastructure that once you started, you found in Pakistan, and what was the way forward that you thought is going to be there?
Yeah, of course, the infrastructure when we started, it wasn't there at all. There was no events happening. There was probably like just 2 fight leagues back then. I'm talking about like 10 years ago from now. But when we compare that from the situation right now, it's much better. Fighters are getting paid. There's like athletic commissions that are being formed. There's federations being formed. I'm not sure exactly what their role is and what kind of role they're playing, because the top athletes are not part of those federations. The top people, the top brains in the industry are not part of those federations or their associations or commissions. So I'm not sure what exactly they're doing, but we're doing what we can, and I know that we'll get there by supporting each other.
Well, Faizan, talk us through Mehmosh. How hard of a student has he been? How much of a grind have you put him through? And of course, results speak for themselves. I understand he's a good boy, but then again, I want to know your angle as a coach. How you've given him the stares very often.
Yeah. So my and Mehmosh's relation is not of a coach and a student. He's actually my teammate. We train together. I help him out with a lot of things. I always corner him in his fight, because for a fighter, they need people who know fighting to sit in their corner and always scream instructions and just help them out. And if I talk about Mehmosh, I mean, definitely he's the most hardworking person and the most, I think, dedicated person in the Pak MMA scene right now. He is like so focused on his goal, which is of course getting that UFC belt. He was talking about this goal before anybody even thought about going to the UFC.
Absolutely.
The day we started, when there was no support, there was nobody could see it, but he could see it, and I always believed in him. I could definitely see him going there very soon and representing Pakistan on the biggest stages in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mehmosh, 3-time Asian champion. I understand. I think that becomes the first level that you see that you want to achieve, and probably tell yourself as well that I'm equipped for international challenges, and then you just keep on climbing that ladder with each passing step. How's that experience been for you as far as the sport goes?
Of course, it's all about just getting your name out there, and the best way you can do that is by win, and an even better way you can do that is by winning championship titles. So I already had two titles before. This is my third title. This puts me in the running, of course, and that's the way you want to do it at the end of the day. When it comes to my coaching, I feel like I'm just obviously I have to put the work in, but I feel like my support system and my coaching is some of the best in the world. I'm coached under Brad One Punch Pickett, who is a UFC legend, and he was number 5 in the world. So, and Ashley Grimshaw, who is again a seasoned vet from Bellator. So I'm coached under some of the best coaches in the world. I'm doing the best I can. I'm training the hardest I can. I'm making sure that I'm the hardest worker in the room. And the main goal is to keep winning fights and to keep winning titles so that it becomes undeniable. When it becomes undeniable, nobody will be able to stop us from getting where we need to get to. And my goal is to take Pakistan to the highest heights and to show people that, we can bring laurels to the nation, not just from negative things, but from positive things as well. And one of the main things right now is just to stand for good things in the world, because a lot of people stand for some bad things in the world, and I just want to try and stand for some good stuff.
Well, what's the biggest hurdle that you've seen so far? I mean, infrastructure development is one part of it in Pakistan, and we do realize it. But as a fighter, Mehmosh, where is the biggest challenge that you've seen and you've been able to encounter that in our part of the world?
I think just the lack of support and the lack of development, so that when there's no support and development, then when you start off, you're sort of learning on the job. So I didn't have a launching pad or an amateur career. We came from a country where we had no choice. We had to fight the best in the world at the time that we were offered them. If we said no, we have no choice. We have no chance either. So I think that's one of the very the difficult things in this country. Whereas now we do have an amateur circuit starting up, which is going to help propel a lot of the fighters. But some of the struggles that I faced was just the lack of support and the lack of base. Now that we have that, a lot of the fighters will do better, and I think it's just a matter of time. For me personally, it's just been getting to a place where people can believe in me. There were some people that believed in me from day one, which I'm grateful for, and then there's some people that believe in me right now as well, which I'm also grateful for. So at the end of the day, I think luck doesn't really have a lot to do with it. It's all about the work and consistency. So as long as we keep doing that, we can go to the highest heights. I believe it with all my heart.
Well, Fazan, I think you've got no excuses. You can't just keep on blaming the system. And I feel that for far too long in Pakistan, we've hung on to the excuse that there's no system, there's no infrastructure development. But it all comes down to the grind that individually you're willing to put in and overcome all of these challenges.
That's true. That's what I've said always, is that doesn't matter if we have a support or not, we will get there. We have a vision, and I think that when you're so focused on your goal and you're just doing what you have to do, the universe kind of puts everything together for you. So when we started, of course, we didn't have sponsorships, we didn't have that support. But now, just because we were determined, we didn't change our path. We just kept going, even though we didn't have anything. Now everything is coming in. Now private sponsorships are coming in. Now people want to work with us. People want to people believe in us and they want to be part of the team, and we really appreciate every one of these guys.
Absolutely.
Well, certainly, and I am itching to just go to that video, which is going to probably give all of you a boost of adrenaline. I think I should replace the word adrenaline with renegade now, because of the reason that
I like it.
we've been hosting him. But the fact is that I really want to go through that video first, and then we talk about this, because that is something you don't see every day, not even in MMA, sorry. But let's just go take a look at the video, and then we just continue the discussion. Well, there you have it. All you need to know about, if ever you've heard the terminology, take me sky high. I think that was the case there as well. But Mehmosh, I want to particularly talk about this. And please, my friend, first of all, remember that I am in your corner. So don't
Yes,
put
sir.
me against yourself.
Don't worry.
The fact is that what I personally felt like, as far as my experience goes, I've been in the cage, so I can talk about this. You probably didn't want to put that guy down. You were having a lot of fun at the moment.
Well, I wanted to put him down eventually. I just wanted to put him down the way where it would hurt him the most. But honestly speaking, I just got the double and I lifted him up and I saw Fezzi and Brad just screaming at me, bring him here. I said, okay, sir, I'm bringing him right
You could
towards
actually hear
you.
them in the background as well.
Well, it was more of just their eyes popping and them screaming, bring him here. So I knew once I got him to the corner, it would be much easier because I can just hear step by step what I want to, what I'm going to do. So again, like the support system and the people behind the stage, like my cornermen and everything are very important. So I'm grateful for all of them.
Fazan, talk us through the preparation of this fight. You probably knew what you were up against, and obviously there was a lot of planning. But as far as planning goes, it's only successful when you're able to execute it as well. And obviously you have to improvise in between. The MMA is a sport where every second counts. So just talk us through the planning of this particular fight and what we just saw as well.
Yeah, so we were offered to fight Hassam Rasuli at Super Fights 2. Of course, it was a tough fight because he was coming off of a knockout. He knocked his previous opponent out in Super Fights. So
12 seconds, I think.
In like 12 seconds. It was probably the fastest knockout of Super Fights. But of course, we're never afraid of competition, or we want to fight the best guys because that proves us that we are the best. So we took this fight. Mehmosh did a good camp. Our game plan was definitely to wrestle with him, take him down, make him vulnerable, and then whenever we see it, we'll have the finish. And Mehmosh stuck to the game plan pretty well. And preparation throughout the fight was kind of very, very tough because Mehmosh had to cut a lot of weight because he usually cuts weight in the last week of his fight. So flying in from London and then getting his weight cut and everything, it was definitely a struggle. But then that's fighting. It's always a struggle. But this is just what we like to do, and it's just business, and we got the job done, so we're happy.
Absolutely. Mehmosh, if I talk about Rasuli particularly, as far as I followed his career, it's not just him individually. The system or the structure where he's coming from is, let's be honest, they're producing quality fighters. There's no doubt about it, and you've got to hand it to them. So once you realize that this is, a fighter who's coming through a system which is far better equipped than what we've got, let's be honest, in the training facilities that we have. And probably I think one thing that we can particularly put them is that, they've got that endurance and stamina as well. Yeah. So how do you focus as far as your mental training is concerned against a fighter like Rasul?
I think that's a very important question, mental aspect of the game as well. Now, obviously you have to worry about what your opponent brings to the table. At the same time, you have to make sure that you don't dwell on it, right? I have to think about what I'm going to do. I know where he's good. That's where my corner men come in. They will make sure that this is a game plan, do this and you'll be fine. But apart from that, I have to only focus on what I'm going to do. I have a game plan of myself, and I have to stick to that game plan and just make sure that I stick to it and don't deviate and don't overthink, because overthinking, you can always fall trap into certain things. If I keep thinking that he's going to knock me out with the right hand, he probably will, because that's all I'm thinking about. But what I need to do is make sure I'm thinking about what I'm going to do. I need to make sure I need to evade it, cover up, not get hit, get on his legs and take him down. When I take him down, he'll be in my world, for example. So the mental aspect, that was a good question. Can't lie, is very important to find the balance.
Obviously, a lot of people see you in the canvas of just the physical aspect of it as well.
Absolutely.
But what they don't realize, and especially I think for fighters, the key element over here is because eventually injuries are part of the game. Rehab is part of the game as well. So if you're not tough from here, it's not going to be, I think, the world you want to live in. So and that is something that I think all of us across the sports fraternity need to understand, need to respect first of all as well. And I've always said that I think more needs to talk about the mental strength of our athletes.
It's like human chess now. Like when you look at fighting, maybe back in the day it was a tough man sport. You would see big beef heads, muscular guys, like maybe they're on steroids as well, and they're going up and just taking lumps out of each other. They're swinging hard. But now it's different. It's like the nerdier you are, the more you can sort of study it the better you're going to be, right? It's a thinking man's game now. It's a game of human chess. So the margins are small, and you have to like just pick up on patterns, on very, very small things. How does he throw his kick? How does he throw his punch? How do I react? How do I time it? So the game has evolved a lot now. You will see most of these guys are not those guys who have like egos walking around big and scary. It's just a guy, you know, that just is really interested in that art. He's so interested in that art that he studies it so much that he just wants to perform. So it's changed a lot nowadays, and mental aspect is everything. Absolutely.
A lot of, I think, you can talk about the training, you can talk about the fights themselves, which are the important essence of what we're talking about MMA. But Faizan, I want you to highlight for our viewers as well and understand that, you know, your placement and your picking and choosing of fights and your connections at the moment, the way the sport is evolving around the world, the way promotions are pouring in money, because at the end of the day, you know, finances play a big part, is very, very important that we've got a structured approach for each fighter.
Yeah, of course. Financial aspect is the most important part. We are putting our lives on the line. You know, when a fighter goes into the cage, there's a big possibility he could possibly die in there. We're getting concussions, we're getting our nose broken, we're getting like cuts and everything. We're not doing this just to be famous. We need the money. We do it for money, and that's why everything just matters, and that's why we need private sponsorships coming in. That's why we want Pakistani sponsors to support their athletes. All these big corporations, they need to look out of cricket, because there's a lot of entertainment you know, aspect with MMA, and like you said, mindset and finances, they all come in, because we're also putting everything that we have. We have to make sure that we're training in the best facilities. Pakistan does not have the best training facilities. That's why, unfortunately, we have to send Mehmosh to London to train. I train in Thailand. A lot of other fighters are doing camps outside. So yeah.
And sorry to disturb, but like you have to understand that when a fighter is fighting, he has no life. I don't have maybe I look like I dress nice, you know, maybe I have a nice haircut, or like he looks really good. We don't have a life. I wake up at 7, I'm in the gym, I stay there till 8, 9, 10 p.m. at night. If I have to teach a class, I teach the class, I get back home, and I do it again every day of my life. So like what you see is not what it really is. It's not all the glamour and the lights. It's only hard work. That's all it is.
Well, you've already defended your part of having nerdy looks and still fighting. So I support you on that. That you know, like I said, we've got me particularly, I've got a lot of respect for what you're doing, because, you know, like I said, people don't understand what it goes through. But, you know, I want to talk about this fact. Probably most of us shy away from the fact that people are not ready to step in and support as far as, you know, the commercial aspect of this is concerned. And it's very, very difficult to make people understand. Although I think I would applaud people in small pockets or, you know, small vicinities who are still trying what they can in their honest capacity. You got to give them a shout out and appreciate them as well.
I have to.
But, you know, Mehmosh, we need to understand that, you know, like Faizan said as well, you're training in London, you're training in Thailand. It's not just about, you know, the training, you know, it's a complete lifestyle change that you've got to occupy. The traveling, the accommodations, the diet plans, you know, everything, the coaching, you're hiring people, your sparring partners, everything in between is going to probably have, at the end of the day, a bill attached to it.
It does. It's not easy, but there's one thing. The strongest men, the manliest men, they will only do those things that will be difficult.
Obviously, no shortcuts.
We're not here to take the easy path. This is the path less trodden, and we're not here to take an easy path. If I took an easy path, I wouldn't be satisfied with myself. So I will always do what is difficult, and I will believe that I can achieve it. That's always been the case from day one. And obviously, like I said, it's hard. We do it all. It's tough, blah, blah, blah. I love it. I love it because it makes me whole.
Yes, Faizan, you'd like to add something?
Yeah, of course. Like you said, you know, the support system is very important, and I would love to thank the people that supported us for this fight.
Absolutely.
Of course, Ash Sculptor.
Ashwood
yes,
Leather.
please go ahead. I think they deserve all the credit.
Yeah, because there are some sponsors that obviously some of them are not even Pakistani, some of them are, and some are, you know, small brands, and they've really stepped up. They've really supported me. Ashwood Leather, Ash, the Ash Sculptor. They made me this beautiful, beautiful piece for my fight. He came out, put it on me while I was walking out, and took it off as well. All my other sponsors back home, UK Sports Therapy, Recovery Zone, Browear Photo, like just a bunch of
Right.
a collective.
You got to make 8 or 10 of these, because in the next fights you're going to be throwing them to
Absolutely.
the crowd. I'm telling you
don't
this
you
right
worry,
now.
Don't you worry. These are gonna go viral now, but don't worry. I got everyone.
Instead of throwing sweatshirts, now we're going to have this as well. But Mehmosh and Fazan, thank you.
Iced out chains by the ash sculptor.
But thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm this is all we have time for.
Before you go, I
Yes,
just want to
please.
say I want to thank my managers Jean and Junaid, and at the same time, before I go, I just want to say that all of this, I dedicate my win to Palestine, the people of Palestine. We need to raise our voices. We cannot stop. If there was something else that we could do, I would do it. If I could go there, I would go. But I cannot. We cannot. They've stopped it all, right? They're making sure that they're trying to shadow ban us. They're trying to make sure that we can't get there. They're trying to stop the aid. We cannot stop. We have to keep on going.
You donning the kafaya says it all as well. And I think it's a beautiful gesture.
Jazakallah
But thank you
khair.
very much. And, I'm sure you've heard it already. But let me just, take the opportunity of representing my nation that Pakistan is truly proud of you. And we thank you
Jazakallah khair.
both for
Thank
your
you so
services
much.
to the nation as well. On that note, we go towards a short break, but stay tuned. We'll be right back, because one thing is for sure, that you got to get in line if you want to be fans right now, because the list of fans for Mehmosh is getting longer and longer with each passing day. A short break, we'll be right back. And welcome back. And now in the second part of the show, we're going to be talking about cricket particularly. And in cricket, of course, we're going to be talking about a lot of things that are happening around the world. Particularly, the ICC has once again released the latest updated rankings as well. For Test, ODI and T20 International, Babar Azam continues to dominate as the top ODI batter. Mohammad Rizwan is at third, and Babar Azam is also fourth in T20 International. New Zealand's Kane Williamson retains the top spot in Test cricket. That is what you should be aiming for. Let me be very particular. But for that, you need to play a number of Test matches in a calendar year, not a handful. So we'll talk about that prospect as well. Then we move on to Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka, the T20 International Series. Bangladesh winning by 8 wickets. Najmul Hussain has been declared player of the match. The 3-match series was levelled at 1-1. Since the T20 World Cup is ever so close, teams are playing T20 series as well, and obviously they realize the importance of playing quality teams. Then, of course, India versus England, the 5-match Test series. England 218 all out in the final Test on day 1. Kuldeep Yadav, my goodness, I think we really got to talk about the skill, the execution, the planning, and the captaincy, as I always say, of giving him the field requirements and whatever he wants is certainly there as well. India now hold an unassailable 3-1 lead in the series already, but this 5-wicket haul is where we really need to focus on, because it's not just being a spinner on tracks that suit you. It's about evolving yourself as a spinner across formats, and I think the main thing to note over here is the improvisation. And we always talk about having variation, but one thing that we don't realize is the variation in pace for a spinner as well. I think that is something very particular that we need to talk about. The trajectory and the pace with what you're bowling is very, very important in modern day cricket for spinners as well. So we'll take a brief look at that as well. Time now to introduce the guest in this segment. First of all, we've been joined by cricket commentator, international broadcaster and presenter, and our sports expert, K. Asif Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, sir?
Walaikum assalam, Ahmed. I'm good. Thank you very much.
We've also been joined by sports expert Ali Mehdi. Assalamu alaikum, Ali. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm very well. How about yourself?
I'm very well. Great to have you on the show as well. Now, of course, Asif, once again, like I said, Babar Azam retains his position as the top ODI batter. He's fourth on the T20 charts as well. Rizwan is in there as well. So, obviously, every now and then Pakistan has now produced some individuals who are consistently there. To my surprise, once again, something that we used to dominate, the bowling and all-rounder charts, were certainly not there anymore.
Well, first of all, congratulations to Babar Azam and Rizwan, but I'll raise a couple of questions. Babar Azam, number 1 in ODI, Pakistan lost Asia Cup, Pakistan lost ODI World Cup, Pakistan lost T20 Asia Cup, Pakistan lost T20 World Cup. So I think that when you're on the top-notch position, are you serving to the nation as well in the right manners or not? There's the question. Well, your personal achievement, an individual who is leading Pakistan, who was the skipper of Pakistan, we appreciate your performances. But see that once again, Pakistan comes first. If Pakistan is not winning ICC titles, ICC tournaments and mega events like World Cup, I think then if you are performing for yourself, if you are going for an average of 70, if you're coming up the number 1 T20 batter, number 1 ODI batter, then we should only appreciate, yes, Babar Azam, you're doing well. But still, Pakistan require the best services. where we could see that the Pakistan qualifying for the final of World Test Championship, where we could see that the Pakistan is holding the World Champions title of ODI World Cup and the T20. So, for your individual performances, congratulations, Babar Azam.
You're right. Ali Mehdi, what would you like to add about the latest updated rankings? And like I said that, Pakistan has now produced brands that are consistently there. Obviously, I think when you talk about the subject of batting, Babar Azam's always there.
Look, Babar Azam has been there for a while in all three formats, should it be Test cricket, ODIs and T20s too. ODIs, he's been number 1 for a while, and right now if you talk about it, he's now number 3 too. The fact of the matter over here is, like Asif Bhai mentioned over here, is that you actually have to, we read too much into these rankings. Rankings, yes, they're very important, you get individual accolades, it's always good to be world number 1 and amongst the best in the world, but it really doesn't matter. If you aren't amongst the best in the world and you're winning World Test Championships, whether you're winning World T20 World Cups or these big tournaments like the Champions Trophy or World Cups, that's what really matters. Babar Azam has done very well, and you can say bilaterals, and then at the same time he's done very well in bilaterals, and normally he does well in ICC events at the beginning of it, but when it comes to the crunch games and the important ones, he hasn't really delivered. So whilst it's good on the eye, I think it's very good on the eye, at the end of the matter it really doesn't do justice, because what really counts is the team trophies too, and that's something where Pakistan has lacked for that matter, Ahmed. You see since the beginning of this new decade, since 2020, since COVID times, Babar Azam has been
But Ali Mehdi, please correct me if I'm wrong. Individuals can make, like Asif mentioned, make personal amends in record books and rankings as well. But teams are supposed to win you tournaments.
No, teams are supposed to win you tournaments. Definitely, they are supposed to do very well. But and Babar Azam has done extremely well. It's very good for him. But at the end of the day, it's a team game too, and it's very good that he's done individually done very well. And also Mohammad Rizwan too. He's been there and thereabouts. But you want the other players also to come around them. So very good for them. But at the end of the day, what really matters is that it's a team game, and that Team Pakistan should do well.
So certainly, we've also been joined by sports expert Umar Khan. Assalamu alaikum, Umar. How are you?
Me.
Umar, what would you like to add about the latest rankings? Now, like I said, that Babar Azam has consistently been there in the ODI rankings, but of course, we can't shy away from the fact that Pakistan team's performance as a whole unit has been somewhat to question.
Well, there's a different perspective. You can look at it this way, that he's having his personal achievements in Pakistan and not winning trophies. At the same time, you can see before Babar Azam and Rizwan turned up as openers, what was the performance and how many semi-finals and finals Pakistan were reaching, and you'll get your answer. So I remember when Misbah was captain, Pakistan were 30 for 2, 30 for 3, 40 for 5, and then Misbah used to save Pakistan team, and he was criticized for being tuk-tuk. Later on, when Misbah Yunus retired, we struggled to bat 50, 70 overs in Test cricket. Same goes now. We have Babar and Rizwan, who has done wonders for Pakistan. In a crunch game against India in the T20 World Cup, we won by 10 wickets. We've made records like chasing 200 plus with 10 wickets in hand. So I do agree to the fact that we haven't won trophies, but the point is we're getting to semi-finals and finals. Unlike other teams, champion teams like West Indies are not even able to qualify for the World Cups. So yes, Babar Azam is unable to perform in the crunch games. I agree. There's no second opinion on that. But at the same time, he's a champion player. And in the recent matches in different leagues, including PSL, he is innovating with his shots. So with time, you will see those queries also to be solved. And I think one should appreciate what we have rather than what we don't have. And I think this is the best thing that has happened to Pakistan in the past few years. And what we do is we keep criticizing our best player in the team, and we keep criticizing until it's gone. Same thing has happened in the past with our previous legends, and now Babar Azam is the point of the knife every time.
Yes, Asif, you'd like to add.
Well, Umar, I would like to say something. I appreciate and I respect your opinion, but the thing is that you would have to decide either you will remain Babar Azam, the top-notch batter in the ICC ranking, or you would become MS Dhoni and you would become Virat Kohli and Kane Williamson. There's a difference. Why Ricky Ponting was so successful? Because his team was doing so good and his performances was up to the mark, and they got victory twice in the World Cup finals. You said that Pakistan qualified in T20 semis. or the finals. We didn't qualify for the final of World Test Championship. We didn't qualify for the semis in the World Cup, ODI World Cup. So there's a difference there. In shorter format, yeah, you are doing well. As you are saying that we're criticizing for the betterment. It's not criticism for the sake of criticism. Babar Azam definitely is good and he's a top-notch batter. But where is our team standing? That was my question there.
Well, Asif, we have, yes, Umar, you'd like to answer that question.
No, that's the point, that we agree to disagree. And yes, I always believe in constructive criticism. The point is, the reason what I believe the Pakistan Test team and the ODI team is not doing well is because our main players, the main pool of 11 to 15 players, which are first playing 11 choices, are not playing our domestic cricket. They're busy playing T20 cricket around the world, and there is something called muscle memory. Every time we go into the one-day cricket, we keep playing the one-day format, or the T20 format, and even in Test cricket, we don't have the temperament to play the long time. And that is why we're struggling. We're unable to finish games. We're unable to win. And this is the problem. It's a team game, 11 players, with each player have their individual roles. Babar Rizwan falters, the whole middle order fails. And if Babar Azam and they play on, and when the role comes for the middle order and the tail or the bowlers, they fail. The team win tournaments when all 11 players are chipping in with their little roles. The magical Australian team who won the 99, 2003, 2007 World Cup. Once all the legends of Australian team retired, that include Vaughan, Gilchrist, Hayden, Martin, and so on, Shane Warne, Glenn McGrath. Even Ricky Ponting struggled to win. And Australia struggled from the time from 2007 till the 2009-10 era. They did very well in the 11 World Cup, but they came back in 2015 World Cup and won it. So yes, it's a team game. Everyone has to chip in. And I totally agree with you. I would any day take all players out of the rankings and the trophy.
Absolutely. Now let's of course take your focus to Test cricket that is being played around the world, especially the England and India Test series as well, with the final test. When you talk about England, they've been bamboozled all over again. But it's not just England who have fallen like a house of cards. It has been Yadav who has been absolutely superb. And K. Asif would really like to talk about that first.
Well, of course, to be very honest, if you see the magical stuff from Kuldeep Yadav, it's been absolutely brilliant. And this wrist spinner is without any doubt, for me, he's now number one, number two spinner in the world, especially in Test cricket. And in your intro, you were saying that he plays all the format, talk about T20, franchise cricket, Test cricket, and then ODI cricket. He fits everywhere just because of his consistency. A couple of his deliveries I will definitely talk about, but the England batters, see, if you are in the point of view of the England, if you are struggling against spinner, we understand. But the English batters, they were struggling against Jasprit Bumrah and Siraj. Siraj was bowling so nicely early on. Zach Crawley and Ben Dickett, they have started really good. But when you see the seam position of Siraj and Jasprit Bumrah, the way they were bringing in or out, to be very honest, some of the deliveries clueless for the Zach Crawley and Ben Dickett, both of this. But then Ashwin and the Kuldeep Yadav, the way they have started, amazing, loved it. And if you have watched the dismissal of Ben Stokes, he wasn't sure either to left it, to play towards the square leg area. So I think that this day belongs to Kuldeep Yadav, the way he has bowled. The English batters, they were outclassed, they were clueless, they didn't have an idea that how to face the spinners. And once again, congratulations to Kuldeep on his fifer.
Absolutely, and I think on the same pitch, if you're still trailing by 83 runs, I understand, but 135 for 1 is a remarkable achievement. I think they've already set a very strong foot in this test match. Ali Mehdi, what would you like?
No, I think they've actually said, the platform was laid out by the bowlers, and I thought Kuldeep, while he was fantastic, you have to give a lot of credit to Ashwin, because Ashwin came and he wrapped up that tail. He came and took the last 4 wickets, and because of that, then the ascendancy, and they have a firm command on this test match, and the way, the openers, I mean, what a treat it's been. Despite all the failures what India has had, and all the problems it had with injuries and senior players not playing, the likes, so many players have emerged. And once again, Jaiswal showed that, he belongs in the big stage too. He's been doing extremely well in first class cricket in Ranji Trophy. And then at the same time, he's now shown that he's been the real bright spot in this test series. And once again, he contributed along with his captain, Rohit Sharma. But, I just think that, once now that India has a firm foot, they should get that lead. And, there is a strong possibility that the way the Indians are batting, aggressively they're batting, they could actually win this by an innings. We'll have to wait and see.
But this has got to be, Ali Mehdi, the most disastrous series for Ben Stokes, let me be honest.
No, definitely it was. And, look, the thing is, Ben Stokes did not learn from his mistakes. He got such a good start, winning that first test match at Rahul Gandhi, stadium in Hyderabad too. But then after that, what's happened is that they've lost all these matches too. So, it's been horrible for them. But it shows that, Ben Stokes, he wanted to conquer this final frontier along with Australia too, which will be going in a couple of years. But the first area where they failed is winning in India, and they're going to get trounced, and it's most likely going to be a 4-1 scoreline.
Absolutely, Umar. England have really been struggling in this series. That is adamant. But the fact is that Ben Stokes as an individual has not lived up to the expectation the English side had.
Indeed, the thing is that Ben Stokes has set the bar so high that when he fails, he becomes the talking point. And he's done such wonders in the past that we expect wonders from him every time. Absolutely, the way England started this series and they won the match, which was almost gone, we were expecting some more fireworks from the English team. But India just left them speechless. And all these youngsters, more apart, that these youngsters have outplayed the English players. That is one point, and that too I will give credit to the domestic system of India and how they invest in their youngsters, how their senior players, are part of the coaching staff at the under-19 and the grassroots level, and that is giving results in their breed to follow.
Absolutely, certainly. Umar, thank you very much for joining us. Asif and Ali Mehdi, thank you very much, gentlemen, to you as well. That wraps up Sports Sector. For me and the entire team, it's goodbye for now.